So a great use of ChatGPT for any software engineering team is using it to explain code, because every software engineer knows it's more difficult to edit or work with someone else's code than to create new code. So just to very quickly show you the benefit or the power of the AI in explaining code, we have this function here. And without context, a junior developer or any developer might not see right away what is going on here or what algorithm is managing the task that this function is performing. So let's just go straight away to the explanation by ChatGPT. So I just had a prompt explain this code, then I copied the function, and it gets turned into natural language. So actually, the most interesting part here is in the conclusion. The code essentially is trying to save the history stack to storage while ensuring that there is enough storage space. If it fails to save the stack, it looks for the stack with the most items and removes items from that stack, then attempts to save again. So that's exactly what this does. Now, to give some more context and to see what happened before I decided to make this video, a little bit of context. So this is our drag and drop page builder for CMS called Drupal, and it saves history states when you perform actions with the product so that you can undo and redo your actions on the page. So the bug was that as you're creating states, as you're performing actions, at some point the state creation may fail with the error the browser's memory is full and the history state cannot be created. So we task a junior developer with fixing this bug, knowing that it's a complex task considering that he's a junior, but we entrusted him to research it, and we were fine if it took a little longer because it's not a critical bug. It's just an edge case where the memory gets filled up. So what happened is the junior designed his own algorithm and added a whole lot of new code with his algorithm. So it's not relevant whether or not this algorithm is performing the tasks up to our expectations. The relevant part for this video is that we see that the developer has seen this pre-existing code because he fixed a typo in it, but he failed to understand there's already an algorithm in place here for memory management. And he created a completely parallel solution, which is bloating our code, adding complexity, reducing performance because we are doing the same work twice. And that's a problem. That means we are wasting a lot of time writing new code and wasting time reviewing this code before I actually realized it's a duplication of previous effort by another developer. So I can completely understand why he failed to understand this code because it's not simple code. It's a recursive algorithm. It's not a concept that every junior developer will be familiar with, and also the solution in here has its own peculiarities that I'll get into later. So looking at the explanation, if the junior developer started analyzing the code in ChatGPT, he wouldn't have missed that the purpose of this function is performing the duty that actually is needed to prevent the error that we are trying to solve. So what else is interesting is that even me being familiar with the code, reading this explanation of the code after having approved it maybe 4 years ago or something, I realized that this solution is actually also faulty by design. not necessarily from a functional perspective, but from a UX perspective. So what I don't like is the fact that it starts popping off history states from the biggest stack. So just to explain what a history stack is. So when I'm creating history states on this page, we save it into a stack with only the history states for this page. So if I go to another page and I perform actions here, it's saved into a different stack. So this is the alert page stack, and this is the home page stack. So what the algorithm is doing is that while I'm actually working on the home page and the history fills up, the algorithm will start removing history states from the homepage stack because it's the biggest stack in this website. So let's say, just hypothetically, this website has 1,000 pages, and some of these pages are 4 years old. I haven't touched them or seen them in years. And some of these pages may have a stack of one or two items, so it doesn't have much effect on memory. But with 1,000 pages combined, that's like thousands of history states that are filling up the memory. So because the algorithm is designed to pop off history stacks from the biggest stack, it's actually going to pop off the work that I've been saving just in the past hour, because this is the biggest stack in the biggest history stack in the website. So for me as a user, that's not intuitive. So why would we be popping off these actions that I just did today that I might want to return to, while we have these saved history states of pages that I edited years ago that I don't work on anymore? So instead of popping off history states from the biggest stack, it makes more sense to combine all the stacks together before just popping off the oldest stack from a virtual stack or shadow stack that includes all history states currently in memory. And I wouldn't have figured that out in 5 minutes from reading this code. I mean, maybe I would have, but just looking at this code makes me feel like, okay, that's a lot of work to completely focus on right now, and I have other stuff to do, and this is just so easy. So it's a great solution for any developer, I think. So what I haven't tried yet is to ask ChatGPT to change the algorithm. So say I would want to change the algorithm to move from popping off the biggest stack to popping off the oldest item. Let's see if it can do that actually. But let's first see if there's enough context at all for ChatGPT to know the timestamps of the stack history states. I don't think it does. Okay, then let's make the prompt a bit simpler. Modify the code to not pop off the last history state of the biggest stack, but rather to combine all history states of all stacks to one big stack, top of the last item of the shadow stack. Then the code will store will revert the structure back to the separate stacks before the saving to store before writing to storage. Should have asked it to convert it to ES6 JavaScript while working on it, because that's what we prefer now, but I'm not even going to see if this works right away, but it's great to see that it's understanding what I'm asking it to do. Actually, this doesn't make sense because all of this should be in the catch block. So yeah, as you can see, it's not a complete replacement for software engineers, but it's a useful tool if you know what to ask it.